right? So how might we critique that view, for example? How might a person who takes the approach that I do, how might I critique this goofy sort of pseudo-philosophical perspective of, everything's an illusion, and there's no way to disprove that or know that? Well, we'll do a presuppositional critique, and it's very easy to do, right? So again, how are we going to do this? We're going to think about the presupposition. The starting point is crucial, and this is what you always want to critique. You always want to start with the starting point. What's the starting point of this view? The starting point of this view is that the individual can make the experience to assume, or can make the assumption that he has learned or come to the truth, the awakening, quote unquote, so-called, that all reality is illusory. And maybe they had a bad drug trip or something, and they realized that they said, oh man, I was like tripping out, and then I realized that like I'm just a flat little bit of flatland non-existence, man. And we're all inside a flatland matrix. We don't exist. It's an illusion, man. It's a dream. Well, the problem with that view, from a presuppositional perspective, for example, would be that if everything in your experience is an illusion, then your coming to the realization that everything is an illusion is also an illusion. You see, so then from the outset, it's self-contradictory and nonsense. And you say, well, maybe I adopt a view that's self-contradictory and nonsense. Well, okay, you can do that, but two replies to that. Number one, if you adopt a view that's self-contradictory and nonsensical, then you have no claim on anyone else's worldview. You have no basis for debating or arguing or critiquing anything. And by the way, you can't state anything objectively because there is no objectivity. So all morals, all objectivity, all truth is gone, because that's, part of the so-called dialectic or whatever. It's all an illusion. So you can't even talk. So get out of here. Like, you're worthless, useless, meaningless. You have nothing to say. Literally, you cannot talk because your words are gobbledygook gibberish and they don't have any meaning. But you seem to be sitting here communicating and arguing with me about how your meditation led you to believe that everything is an illusion. So you're debating and doing apologetics and using words and terms and assuming objective meanings and metaphysical principles, which do not comport with the other presupposition that there is no reality. There's all illusion. So you're just a jumbled mass of gobbledygook contradictions. So that's how we disprove something like that. The other point I wanted to make too is that anytime that you try to argue, okay, this is not happening in a vacuum. A discussion, a debate, making a point, making a claim, universal claim. This is basic logic. Okay, anytime you're doing something like that, you're assuming things. And it doesn't matter whether you want to assume them or not, you are. It doesn't matter whether you recognize that you're assuming these things or not, you are. Again, it doesn't matter, right? So if you say it's perfectly logical to believe that nothing exists and I am living in an illusion or a dream, then the words that you're using and the things that you're talking about, like logic, when you say something is logical, when you say it is true that I live in an illusion, it is true that there's no reality, then you also cannot have objective logical principles operating in your worldview, because those are also part of the illusion, you see, right? So this totally falls apart, it's total nonsense, and it's totally stupid.